But we do have one more conference for you guys, and that is the SEC. So we'll take it to number 14 now, and that is the Ole Miss Rebels.
I mean, what are you going to do if you're Ole Miss right now? You can't go to a bowl game right now, so you can't even have guys say, hey, we're about to be in the Orange Bowl, something like that. Can't go to a bowl game this year. Suspended next year, and then all you read in the headlines right now is that all your best players are trying to go to different schools right now. They're going to go to Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State, or somewhere else. And so it's going to be a really tough sled. Much like Baylor and some other schools that have gotten on probation, I think Ole Miss is in for a rough next 5 years. And really, guys, just think about this. It puts so much emphasis how good Penn State has done with all the sanctions and bad, the 2-year bowl ban and all those players who could leave for them. When Penn State went through this in 2011, how they stuck around and really never had a big dip. And you're seeing Ole Miss and Baylor going through it. Ole Miss having a really tough time the next 5 years.
All right, we're going to keep powering through. At number 13, we have the Razorbacks. They have 11 players committed to play for them in 2018 and 2 4-star recruits.
Well, Bumper Pool is the man. I am a big name guy when it comes to college football recruiting. If I'm thinking between 1 or 2 or 3 guys, and one's got a name like Bumper Pool, he's getting the scholarship offer from me. But had offers from all kinds of big schools, chose Arkansas, stuck with him through the coaching change, and he's going to be an instant impact player for them. I love this guy.
All right, speaking of coaching change, up next in the SEC ranks, we have the Tennessee Vols. 11 players committed to play for them, 4 4-star recruits, but a little low for Tennessee and what they're usually used to seeing.
They are going to have to replace, almost half their class in less than 2 months. They've had so many decommitments in the past, 6-8 weeks. A lot of guys going to other SEC schools. Other guys going out there say, hey, I'm going to go to Nebraska. I'm going to go out west, and that's pretty rare for Tennessee. They're going to hang their hat on 4-star wide receiver Alante Taylor. He just recommitted to Tennessee after kind of wavering for a while. He's the first true commit under Jeremy Pruitt.
And I think that Greg Emerson, another 4-star D tackle that they're going to bring in, I think they're going to do a lot of great work with him. We saw what Pruitt was able to do as the defensive coordinator at Alabama, being able to help turn out a lot of great defensive linemen there, Deshaun Hand, Jonathan Allen, to name a couple. I think that Greg Emerson is going to be a solid player for them on the defensive line. They really got to get going for on the defensive side of the ball to compete in the SEC.
All right, at number 11, we have Missouri. They have a bunch of zeros in that left column. So, guys, we're just going to keep powering through. Not much to say about them. Yes, sad. At number 10, we have Vandy. Vandy does have 3 players in the top 300, 16 players who are committed, 1 4-star wide receiver. Good for them.
Surprisingly good class, but nothing to think they're going to win championships with.
Nothing to write home about at all. At number 9, we have Kentucky. 19 players committed, 4 3-star recruits. This is a good class for the Wildcats.
Man, it's hard to recruit in the SEC. Kentucky just came off one of the best years that I think they've had in, 2 decades, and all they can get is 3 4-star recruits. That's pretty tough.
One thing for Kentucky in the last few years, they have really made an impact in that lower Ohio region, kind of south of Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, where where Tom Downey's from, that area. They are making an impact outside the state of Kentucky, and that's why you're seeing them get 3 top 300 recruits, which is rare for them.
All right, at number 8, we have Mississippi State. They do have 3 4-star recruits, a couple guys in the top 300. Who are you excited to watch for the Bulldogs?
Well, I'm excited to watch Malik Heath, the wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver they have in, also coming in Stephen Guidry. I think that for the most part, this Mississippi State team, even though they're losing their head coach in Dan Mullen, this is still a solid recruiting class going on top of what is already Mississippi State has been able to create a very well-rounded program. It's not going to be over-the-top great, but it's not going to be terrible. They're always going to be competing, and they're always going to be a tough out. I think that this continues on that tradition.
Yeah, it's surprising that they've stuck out with a couple of these players with the coaching change.
Yep. All right, getting to the top half of the SEC, we have the Florida Gators. Got a bunch of 4-star recruits, guys, with a big 0 on that 5-star column.
It's challenging for them to get and to hold on to commitments with them making a mid-season coaching change. Yep. It's really throws the entire recruiting process into into turmoil. One guy to watch out for, it's Matt Corral from the state. He's a Southern California guy. He's a pro-style passer. Came in under Jim McElwain and really recruited him hard. Is he going to stick around? I think the Wolves are kind of nipping at him right now, thinking that he is open to look at other schools. Every team in the Big 12, every team in the Pac-12 that needs a quarterback is going after Matt Corral right now. Is he going to stick with this new coaching regime?
We will see. And then at number 6, we have the Gamecocks. 20 players committed to play for them in 2018. Once again, there's a couple 4-star recruits sprinkled in there. Wide receiver Josh Vann.
Maybe disappointed. I don't know about you, James. I'm a little disappointed. You think that in year 2 now, Will Muschamp, they'll be able to get a little bit better of a pull there? A little disappointed.
I think it's year 3, but DeCarrion Joyner, this guy is the player that they need to get. He's from the state of South Carolina. He got recruited by everybody in the Southeast. ACC, SEC wanted him. Stuck with South Carolina. You know why he said he stuck with South Carolina?
Why?
Staying home. They showed me the most love. They wanted me the most.
Good.
I tried the
like
hardest.
That.
That means a lot for recruits, and we've seen that
Muschamp.
definitely happen throughout the classes. Number 5, we have Texas A&M. Now, they have 8 4-star recruits, a couple guys sprinkled in the top 300. I know one guy you guys are excited to talk about is wide receiver Jalen Preston.
I am, and I'm also really surprised to see Texas A&M this high. They just lost their head coach, and I think for the most part, them being able to stay number 5 in the SEC, it's actually pretty impressive for a school like Texas A&M. They're ahead of a school like Florida, who, getting a coach like Dan Mullen is actually a pretty nice pull for any recruiting stuff. But losing their head coach, I'm surprised to see them number 5. Good for Texas A&M. Hopefully they can keep some of these guys and they don't flip going forward.
All right, moving on to number 4, we have LSU, and they're in the top 4 in the SEC, but still no 5-star recruits for the Tigers.
And I think that has to do a little bit with, it might have to be an indictment on Ed Orgeron. We've talked a lot about, is Ed Orgeron the right choice?
Ed Orgeron is a great recruiter.
He is, but
outside of Nick Saban, he's the best recruiter in the entire SEC. I mean, yeah, you expect
4th?
LSU has typically gotten guys down the stretch, so I think they're going to make a splash next week on signing day. They're going to pop up here, and there's going to be plenty of players in the 6 weeks between early signing day and regular signing day that they're going to get. You're going to see them pop up, but they're still going to be in the top 10 or 12 in the entire country. I think in the SEC, if you're 4th in the SEC, sometimes you can be 6 or 7 in the entire country.
Fair.
That's
fair.
It's fine. Jarrell Cherry is the guy I like out of this class. Athletic power edge rusher, and we know that Coach O is really just a defensive line coach.
And I think that he's going to sit very well next to David Cotton, who we showed you a couple highlights of there. I think those two guys on the same side of the line is going to be just fearsome in the SEC.
All right, number 3, we have Alabama, guys.
Well, they don't even normally get ranked number 3 in the entire country.
Right.
So, number 3 in the SEC, interesting. So they took a little bit different approach this year. Lost both their coordinators in the last couple of years. Lost another coordinator, is now going to Tennessee as the coach. So it's basically Nick Saban and a bunch of guys he met, 2 hours ago, recruiting for him right now in this program. So they are in on 20 of the top 50 guys left. The top 50 uncommitted players in the country now. About 20 of them are considering Alabama in the top 2 or 3. I think they're going to get 8 or 9 of those guys. So they're going to finish with a fury. You're going to see 22, 23 players end up in this class, and they're going to end up ranked in the top 3 or 4 in the country right now. They're sitting there somewhere in the backside of the top 10. And so will they get in the top 3 in the SEC? It's tough to say. They'll probably surpass our number 2 team coming up, but it won't be a number 1 or number 2 class. They've had basically 8 straight years number 1 or number 2 class, depending on who ranks, which rankings you follow.
And just a reminder, them having 0 5-star recruits is kind of tricky. Ayabi Anoma, who comes from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland, at this point he's almost completely 100% certain to go to Alabama. We'll know, obviously, when all the signings do come in, but they will end up with at least 1, if not 2 5-star recruits, so it's a little shaky.
2 or 3.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move to number 2 here. Those are the Auburn Tigers. No 5-star recruits, but so many 4-star recruits, guys. A couple athletes, a couple wide receivers. This is a great class.
Listen, Joey Gatewood is the guy we want to talk about. 6'4", 232. They list him as an athlete. They list him as an athlete because what's he, a defensive end? Is he a linebacker? No, this is going to be their new quarterback. He's coming in to play quarterback.
It's like Cam Newton
Joey
size.
Gatewood is the man. He is lightning quick for his size. He is going to be amazing there at Auburn. I think he's the star of the class.
And I think he's also going to match up really well with Matthew Hill, the wide receiver that they have bringing in as well. Their offense is always really built around a lot of solid, not over-the-top, incredible talent players. I think this kind of goes along with that. This is going to be a fun offense going forward. Good for the Auburn program.
All right, and the number 1 recruiting class
Oh,
in
boy.
the SEC are the Georgia Bulldogs. 10 top 300 recruits, 5 in the top 100. Plenty of 5-inch 4-star recruits. And this dual quarterback, Justin Fields, guys, is the dude.
Justin Fields is an absolute freak, and we'll get to him in a second. The guy I want to talk about first is Zamir White, the running back. Number 1 running back in the country. This dude is an absolute freak of nature. I really do think that Zamir White is going to end up being just an absolute star in the SEC. He's an absolute freak on the offensive side of the ball. And then you match him up as well with Justin Fields. Oh my goodness, that's just not even fair.
Throwing a lot of absolutes there, Harris,
it's not even fair.
I mean, they're going to be such a dynamic duo out of that backfield. It's going to be amazing to see. Now, the thing that's interesting about Fields is he's still committing. He decommitted from Penn State. Why he committed from Georgia to Penn State, I never was understanding, but he's sticking with him. They have got Jake Fromm and in front of him Jacob Eason, 2 top 25, 30 quarterbacks in the country the last 2 recruiting classes, and he's going in there. He's not going to a place where he's really a true chance to start as a true freshman. So surprising he stuck with him, but he is going to be dynamite in this offense.
I will say this: I really do think that Zamir White, might just come in and start week 1. I also think that he should just come in and start week 1. The dude is an absolute monster.
With the talent they have in the Georgia backfield, I don't think there's any chance he'll start from week 1, but he's going to get plenty of carries. You'll probably end up seeing him with about 150 carries as a true freshman.
Oh, so excited. He's so good.
Definitely a fantastic class for the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, guys, that is just about all the time we have for you. We will quickly recap the SEC and what we had. So at number 14 is Ole Miss, 13 is Arkansas, 12 Tennessee, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. At number 9, we have the Kentucky Wildcats, followed by Mississippi State, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Up next, we have LSU, followed by Bama, Auburn, and Georgia.